भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेव श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तविंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So again, warm welcome to all the devotees assembled here for today's discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam. We are discussing from the 6th canto in last few weeks, and we have come to this particular section where very beautifully the prayers of Vritrasura are going to come. The previous discussions we have seen how Indra, in the rage of anger, he killed Vishwarup, who he had accepted as a spiritual master, and because of the strength gained by his yajna, he had conquered over the asuras who had become very powerful. But as soon as he realized that Vishwarup was also offering some part of ahuti in the sacrifice in favor of the demons, he killed or beheaded Vishwarup. But then Indra again, he accepts what I have done is wrong. He takes the sinful activities. But Twashta, the father of Vishwarup, he becomes angry and he creates a demon, Vritrasura, who is supposed to kill Indra. But the Vedic mantras are such deep and such accurate, if pronounced incorrectly, they can have an altogether different result. So the pronunciation was slightly adjusted, and rather than somebody who will kill Indra, a demon was created who would be killed by Indra. And seeing his gigantic form, his strength, the Devtas are totally confused, they are disheartened, they have lost it. So they approach the Lord, and then the Lord asks them to go to Dadichi Muni, and the Vajra which will be made. Actually, in the previous section, we saw in the last section, in the 9th chapter, the Lord also gives what is the nature of pure devotees. We saw some of the beautiful verses, and even though they don't aspire anything material, but still Lord, seeing that they are also devotees, the Indra and the Devtas, even though they still have some inclination to have material opulences, so he still gives them the guidance and direction by which their difficulty can be resolved. So now, after getting instructions from Lord, we will see in this 10th chapter, which is entitled The Battle Between the Demigods and Vritrasura. So after getting the instructions, what is the approach of Indra is seen here, where he follows the instruction of Lord and goes to Dadichi Muni for his bones, which is actually basically asking him to give up his life. So that itself is a for their pleasure or for their gain, he's asking somebody to give up his life. So just a brief overview of this 10th chapter. So the first 12 verses, there's a conversation between demigods and Dadichi Muni, and Dadichi Muni gives up his body in the end as instructed by Lord. Then from 13th verse to 28th verse, the battle ensues. So Indra and demigods attack the demons, getting the strength and the Vajra made out of Dadichi's bones. And then 29 to 33, Vritrasur chastises the fleeing Asuras. So the Devtas, they attack with such fierce enthusiasm, with fierce strength. The Asuras were completely baffled and they started fleeing. So Vritrasura gives them instruction on what is good for somebody who's on the battlefield, for a yodha, for a fighter. What is a right attitude to fight? So this is in brief. So about this particular chapter. So 3 main sections. So we'll quickly take some of the important points from this chapter. So as mentioned, the first section is between conversation between demigods and Dadichi. So as mentioned, Supreme Lord disappeared. That is mentioned in the first verse, from presence of demigods. Then demigods, headed by Indra, Devtas, they approach Dadichi Muni and beg for his body. So Dadichi understood the whole situation and he partially agreed at once, but just to joke with them and hear some religious instructions from them, he starts speaking. So in 3rd and 4th verse, Dadichi Muni says, don't you know how unbearable it is? What kind of pain one undergoes when one dies, one gives up his body? So, and you are asking me to voluntarily give up my body. So, can you realize the pain that service involves? Then in the 4th verse, he says, living entities are attached to body. So, who would give up this body? Even if it's demanded by Lord Vishnu. You may say, oh, we have come as instructed by Lord Vishnu. But even Lord Vishnu has told this, but it's so difficult. How can we give up this body? So then the demigods, they start replying. And that was the reason why Dadichi had actually asked them in the first place. So very beautifully, Devtas mention this verse. Shri Deva Uchuhu Kim nu taddustejam Brahman Pumsam Bhutanukampinam Bhavad Vidhanam Mahatam Punya Shlokedya Karmanam Kim nu taddustejam Brahman. What is difficult? Dustejam. What is difficult to give up for a Brahman? Hey Brahmana, what is difficult to give up? Pumsam Bhutanukampina. For those who are thinking of welfare of others. So there is nothing difficult for them because they don't associate with anything personal. Their whole existence, manasa, kaya, vacha, is for serving others. Bhavad vidhanam mahatam punya shlokedya karmana. So these are very, very great personalities. And you are one of them. Bhavad vidhana, like your lordship, like you, Dadichi Muni. You are mahatam, who are very great. Punya shlokedya karmana. And even their activities are glorified. by great souls. So like that, this is a nice verse that which is exalting the nature of devotees, pure devotees, exalted personalities. What is their nature? They are pious, kind, and affectionate, and such souls give anything for others' benefit. So that is their nature. So there's nothing dustyajam, there's nothing difficult for them because they don't anything else so dear than their only thing which they hold dear is service to Lord and service to devotees and service to others, because they see everything as part and parcel of the Lord. So there's nothing difficult for them to give up. They see everything as an opportunity to serve, and therefore even if it's at personal discomfort, at personal uh, giving up their attachments, giving up something they like, they don't feel an iota of discomfort, iota of remorse, or that, oh, I should not do this because it involves my personal comfort, it involves my personal happiness. Why? They are living for the pleasure of others. So this is beautifully they are describing what is the quality of a great personality. Anybody would like to recite this verse? Anybody on the okay? So kim nu taddustyajam brahman pumsam bhutanukampinam bhavadvidhanam mahatam punya shlokedya karmanam. So after telling the glorious nature of great personalities, and they are ascribing, you are one of them, the Dichi Muni. Further, they say in the 6th verse, selfish people do not know the pain of others. So those who are selfish, they cannot understand the pain of others. So then they give the understanding of the requester and one who gives. So if the requester knew others' pain, he would not ask. So if somebody who is begging or requesting, if he knows what is the pain involved for one to give, then he would not ask. And if the donor knew, if one who is giving knew what is others' pain, he would not refuse to give, since he is capable of giving. So it's a very, very mutual exchange where the receiver is not unkind to ask without any concern for one who is giving. He understands that what is it involves to give, the pain which is involved. And one who is giving, if he understands the one who is begging or who is on the receiving end, what is the pain involved for him, so he does not refuse to give because he has the capacity. So there is a mutual relationship. Hearing these beautiful instructions, then the Dichi Muni is happy to hear such words. Then in 7th verse, he says, I refuse just to hear from you. And now I will give up the body as per your desire, as per your request. Then in 8th verse, he says, one who cannot sacrifice this impermanent existence for others is pitied even by immovable beings. So that is the nature of great souls. They are always thinking for the benefit of others. They understand what is permanent reality and what is impermanent. So they know that this world is filled with impermanent reality. So if this impermanent reality, if even though we may sacrifice something in this impermanent reality, but that helps someone to become happy, to become connected with the Lord, then they are willing to give up that impermanent position. Then in the 9th verse, the mind possessing imperishable dharma, which laments others' distress and rejoices at their joy, is praised by pious men. Basically, saying that fact that Vaishnava is para sukha sukhi and para dukha dukhi. He is acknowledging that fact. That is the nature of Vaishnava. He feels unhappiness in the unhappiness of others. He feels happiness seeing others happy. So his joy and his sorrow is connected with those around him. He does not have his own personal, what do you call, uh, attachments or personal desires which make him happy or unhappy. So this is also very nice verse. The 9th verse. Just recite. एतावान् अव्ययो धर्मा पुण्यश्लोकेरुपासिता यो भूता शोकहर्षाभ्यम् आत्मा शोचति हृष्यति. Yo bhuta shoka harshabhyam. When he sees others, bhuta, in shok, in unhappiness, in harsha, in happiness, atma, they themselves feel shochati. In others' unhappiness, they feel unhappiness. In others' happiness, they feel happiness. So that is the nature of the great souls that is mentioned. So this is actually praised by those who are punya karmanam, punya shloker upasita. So these pious people, they acknowledge the nature which is filled with this. So that is mentioned. Then in the next verse further, Prabhupada is quoting from Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures on how, seeing others, one who is on the Brahman platform or a self-realized platform, he can see equally presence of Lord in everyone's heart, and therefore he can actually connect with others. Then the 10th verse, further, the Dichi Muni mentions that body is of no use to soul. It must be engaged for others' benefit. Otherwise, it remains as a source of misery. Aho danyam aho kashtam parakye shanabhangurai yanno pakuryat ashwarther martya swagyati vigrahe. Aho danyam aho kashtam parakye shanabhangurai. So what is the nature of this body? It is full with tribulation, it's a miserable condition, and it's shanabhangurai. Yan na upakuryat aswarthir martya shvagyati vigrahe. So what is the end? It is eaten by jackals and dogs after death. So it stays for a very short time and may perish at any moment. So this body and all its different connections, the relatives, everything must all be engaged for the benefit of others, or else will be course of tribulation and misery. Aho danyam, aho kashtam. So this is the nature of this world. What we think will give us most happiness in this world, the conditioned jiva is thinking, doing everything for himself, this body, what he considers himself, this body, which he feels will give him the greatest pleasure. But that same thing actually is source of greatest tribulation. Aho danyam, aho kashtam. If one feels that this body which has been given to us can be used or should be used for one's own benefit, then it is caused of greatest unhappiness, greatest tribulation. But the same body, when used for, like Prabhupada would say, preaching Krishna consciousness, uplifting others, enlivening others, sharing Krishna consciousness, then which is actually benefit for everyone. And whatever resources one has, whatever relatives, family one has, then that same body can be source of great pleasure. Prabhupada is quoting a similar verse from 10th canto. Etava janma safalyam dehinam iha dehishu prane arthir dhyavacha shreya acharanam sada. That what is the success safalyam of this janma safalyam dehinam iha dehishu praner, by one's prana, arthe, by one's possessions, dhiya, the body, vacha, shreya, acharanam sadaha. So one should have such acharam which is shreyas, which is for the benefit of others. So that is the formula. And even Prabhupada then quotes from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bharata Bhumita Hele Manushya Janmayar, Janma Sartha Kari Kara Para Upakar. That one should first make one's life successful and then also do para upkar, help others. So that is the best welfare activity one can do. So then, after accepting the proposal in the 11th verse, the Dadichi Muni gives up his gross body to service the demigods as requested by them, and he places himself at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that was his Chetana. So in that mood, he gives up his existence, his body. Dadichi then went in trance and cut his material bonds. He could not perceive how this material body became separated from his self. So because he was situated in Krishna consciousness, being totally absorbed in Lord, he actually did not feel any fear or pain related to separating from this body, which mentioned. Then after executing or working on the instructions of Lord, Dadichi Muni gives up his body. Then from 13 to 28, Indra, with the help of Vishwakarma, makes this thunderbolt from the bones of the Dadichi and then attacks the demons. So 13th and 14th verse actually gives details of how Vishwakarma manufactured this, and it was charged with power of the Dadichi and enlightened by Supreme Personality of Godhead. So having got the power of the Dadichi and enlightened by Supreme Lord, Indra is now surcharged. He is feeling more rejuvenated, more enthusiastic now to again attack Vritrasura. So he's being praised by sages and then he attacks. Then Indra attacked Vritrasura, it's mentioned in 15th verse, by leaders of demoniac and armies. Vritrasura is there, and there are other demons who have also come supporting Vritrasura's cause, and they are like assistant warriors. So, so this fight ensures, and there's a analogy which is mentioned as Rudra ran to kill Yamraj. The 16th verse, it's mentioned the place and time of battle. So this battle took place in the end of Satya Yuga and beginning of Treta Yuga, and it took place on the banks of river Narmada. Prabhupada clarifies that Ganga, Saraswati, Yamuna, and Narmada and Krishna, they are celestial rivers. So this battle took place in celestial realm. Then in 17th and 18th verse, Indra with supporters arrives at the battle when all the Suras came on the battlefield headed by Vritrasura. So then both the parties are facing each other. So there are the Indra with his army of Devtas, and then 19 to 22 mentions Vritrasura with his army, where there are Rakshasas, Yakshas, etc., etc. Then 23rd verse, demons attacked the demigods with various weapons and scattered the chief of the demigods. So it appeared that the arrows which were thrown, they covered the whole demigods, like the stars are covered by clouds. But demigods also, with great enthusiasm, great strength, great agility, they cut the weapons to pieces before they reached them. Then the demons showered trees, mountain peaks, stones, Even they were cut. These were cut by the Devtas. And then seeing how the Devtas were very, very enthusiastically defeating uh, whatever attempts were made by the demons, they became fearful, understanding that they don't hold any chance to gain victory. So demons attacked on demigods was very futile because they were being protected by Krishna. So analogy is given that harsh speech of low man against saintly men will not affect him. Similarly, being protected by Krishna, being empowered by Krishna, the Devtas were not affected by any kind of weapons or any kind of attack of Devtas. So then the last part of this chapter 29 to 33, Vitrasura chastises the fleeing asuras. So seeing the whole situation, how their attack was becoming futile, the asuras lost pride in fighting and they left their leader, in this case Vritrasura, and it was like the beginning of fight only, and they began to flee. So Vritrasura was actually a very inspired, great-minded hero, and he smiled and he looked at these asuras and started speaking some words to inspire them. So it's mentioned in Bhagavatam, and if you see text number 31, Vritrasura is hero amongst heroes. So he started speaking according to time, place, and circumstances, which could be appreciated, the words which could be appreciated by thoughtful men. So that was his, so even though he was in the body of an asura, his thought process or his vision was very, very glorious. So in 32nd verse, he says, nice verse, Jatasya mrityurdruva eva sarvata pratikriya yasya na cheha klipta loko yashaschath tato yadihi amum ko nama mrityum navranita yuktam. So he's saying death is unavoidable. Providence has not provided any escape. So at no point one can say I can avoid death. Providence has made arrangements for everyone to go through this process of giving up the body through the medium of death. In that situation, who will not accept a glorious death that gives promotion to higher planetary systems? So Jatasya mrityur dhruva eva sarvatah. Like in Bhagavad Gita also, Jatasya hi dhruva mrityur. So that verse is saying that one who has taken birth will die, and one who has died will again take birth. The same thing, Jatasya mrityur dhruva eva sarvata. Everyone who has Jatasya, who has taken birth, mrityu is dhruva. It's certain. It's inevitable. So he's saying that if that is the nature of this world, that is the nature of the body one has gained, why not die gloriously? Because everybody has to die. You cannot avoid death. So rather than acting in such a way that you die ingloriously, act in such a way that it is glorious. It will lead you to some higher destination. So if your mentality is that you want a higher destination in this world, but act in such a way that you get a higher destination in this world, heavenly planets, because he was speaking to, in this case, asuras, and asuras don't have a very high ambition, or they don't have the right understanding of what is the nature of this existence. So he's telling at least act in such a way that you will go to heavenly planets. So in that mood, he starts chastising. Even Prabhupada is telling, even Krishna told Arjuna that if you fight, one of the reasons, and even if you die, you will gain heavenly kingdom, and if you win, you will enjoy kingdom in this world. Because Krishna also gives progressive understanding to Arjuna in in Bhagavad Gita. So this is one understanding. At least act properly as is the duty of a Kshatriya. And that itself will give you a higher realm. So that kind of act you should do. So that is one thing which he is saying. And then in text number 33, he says, 2 glorious deaths are recommended in Shastras. After perfecting yoga, that is leaving body, being always remembering the Lord, mind is fully concentrating on Lord, or secondly, to die in battlefield, leading the army and never showing back. So these are 2 deaths which are glorious, with material, at least with material conception in mind. So whatever conception one has, one should act so that one's life and one's death, one's after existence is glorious. So in that mood, he speaks to Asuras. So that concludes this chapter where the fight ensures. Then the next chapter, which is about very beautifully talks about the last 4 verses are very, very nice prayers of Vritrasura, very, very talked about and spoken about by Acharyas. So the chapter is entitled The Transcendental Qualities of Vritrasur. So just a brief breakdown of this chapter. So the first 4 verses, Vritrasura chastises so he has chastised the Asuras in the previous chapter, last section. Now he chastises the Devtas in this particular section of this chapter. Then from 6th to 12th verse, Vritrasura fights with Indra. So there is this whole Indra is throwing something and Vritrasura retaliates. We'll see that. And then from 13 to 17, Vritrasura then chastises Indra also, specifically. Especially in connection to his killing Vishwarup, who is actually brother of Vritrasura. Having been born of Twashta's body, he is like brother. And then from 18 to 23rd verse, Vritrasura instructs Indra. And from 24 to 27th verse, Vritrasura offers exemplary prayers. The last 4 verses, which are the culmination of this particular, the whole pastime, because that shows who is actually hero, who is not hero, who is actually ultimately winning or ultimately has the end which is desired by great personalities. So then briefly we'll see one by one the various sections. So the first 4 verses where Vritrasura, so what has happened is the Asuras are fleeing, and when the Asuras are fleeing, the Devtas, they see they are like winning or their side is up. So they take advantage of this situation, and even though demons are fleeing, basically they are showing their back towards the Devtas, but the demigods, they start rebuking, they start throwing arrows and trying to harm them, kill them. Seeing this situation, Vritrasura is aggrieved and he starts rebuking the demigods, and he spoke angrily in 4th and 5th verse, rebuking the Devtas. He's saying that these demons, they took birth uselessly. They came out of bodies of mothers like stool. So Prabhupada says that stool also comes out of stomach, and from the food one takes and digests, and the child is also there in the abdomen of the mother. So it appears if a child is useless, it's as good as like stool. So what is the benefit of killing such running fearful enemies from behind? These devtas are running. So what is the point? You are killing them from behind. Such killing is neither glorious. You think, oh, you are doing some glorious act. nor will it give promotion to heaven. Stand before me if you have faith in your heroism, patience in heart, and no ambition for sense gratification. So, with these words, he challenges and rebukes the Devatas for their very inglorious act, very, very unheroic act of killing enemies from behind. In that mood, he chastises the Devatas. Prabhupada in the fourth verse also quoting Chanakya Pandit's verse also, ko artha putrena jatena yona vidvan na dharmike kanena chakshusha kimva chakshu pida pida eva kevalam. What is the use of a son who is neither glorious nor devoted to the Lord? Ko artha putrena jatena. Kona vidvan is neither glorious, vidvan na dharmike, neither he is following dharma or devoted to the Lord. Kanena chakshusha kimva. Such a son is like a blind eye. He cannot see, which simply gives pain but cannot help one see. Chakshusha pida. It gives pain. Pida iva kevalam. Only gives pain. So that is like a blind eye. So Prabhupada is telling that. Then in the second section from 6 to 12th verse, Vritrasura and Indra start fighting. So angry Vritrasura, he terrified demigods with his body and he just roared like so loudly, resounding, that all living entities nearly fainted just hearing this tumultuous sound. So it resembled the like a lion, the roar, and the demigods fainted, fell to ground as if being struck by thunderbolts. So the demigods closed their eyes in fear, and Vritrasura trampled these demigods like a mad elephant tramples hollow bamboos in forest. So that is the description. Vritrasura is like a mad elephant. He is just running around and trampling upon these the Devatas. So Indra became intolerant and he threw a club towards Vritrasura. That because the fight had started and he could see his soldiers or his party was getting affected by the blow of Vritrasura. So in anger, in fighting spirit, he threw. But Vritrasura, he is so gigantic and he is also so brave. He caught hold of the club and he stuck, or he sent back that club and struck Airavat, the carrier of Indra. And this battle was actually glorified by everyone for this heroic way of catching the club and then throwing it back. And Airavat, being stuck, he was pushed back 14 yards and he started spitting blood, fell down along with Indra. So seeing the condition of Airavat, Indra was affected, but Vritrasura followed the norms and he did not attack when they were kind of recovering from the injury or from the blow. And then Indra relieved Airavat or revived him, because Indra has this nectar producing hand, and he revived Airavat, and then both stood silently. Then 13 to 17th verse, Vritrasura starts chastising him. Vritrasura remembered Indra's sinful acts of cruelly killing his brother. So he remembered how Vishwarup, who was acting as the spiritual master, who was acting as the Yajna enactor on behalf of Indra, was mercilessly killed by Indra. So he lamented for that, and he starts chastising that you have killed a Brahmana, you have killed the spiritual master. Only for the desire to live in heavenly planets, you have killed a self-realized, sinless, qualified Brahmana who was spiritual master, and you have mercilessly killed like a butcher cuts off the head of an animal. So you are deprived of all good qualities. You are condemned even by Rakshasas. After I kill you, even fire won't touch you. Only vultures will eat your body. Why? Because you have done such heinous act, such unworthy act. You are like a papi, sinful. If other demigods follow you and attack me, I shall sever their heads and do sacrifice to Bhairav with their heads. So those who come to assist you are also party to your sinful activities. So I will kill them also. So then Vritrasura starts instructing Indra. And these instructions which Vritrasura gives to Indra are very, very glorious. And they show the heart of Indra, or the nature, the heart of Vritrasura, or the nature of pure devotee. His constant faith and his constant obedience to the desires of the Lord, to the instructions of the Lord, to the will of the Lord, which is what makes a devotee so dear to the Lord, which makes him so glorious. That Lord says that the devotee is in my heart and I am in the heart of man. So that will be clearly seen in these instructions. So in the 18th verse, they speak about so Vritrasura first of all says, Atho harer me kulushen veera harta pramatyeva shiro yadiha tatra tatrarnano bhuta balim vidhaya manasvinam padaraja prapatse. So here he is saying, previously he mentioned that I will kill you and your body will not be even touched by fire. It will be eaten by vultures. But he then says, if you kill me, I will offer my body to other living entities and will be relieved of reactions. And what will be my fortune? So he is thinking, even after death, my body will be of service to others. So that is my nature. That is what I want to do. And I'll be relieved of reactions. And what will be my fortune? Manasvinam pada raja prapatsya. And just by falling Manasvinam pada raja prapatsya, I will get the dust pada raja of Manasvinam, of great devotees, prapatsya. I will receive what? Their holy dust, their lotus dust, their lotus feet dust. And that will be my great fortune. And Prabhupada says, of devotees like Narada, Manasvinam pada raja prapatsya, I will get the dust from the lotus feet of Manasvinam, of great devotees like Narada. So even after I die, even if I lose my life in this battle, I will serve others, other living entities, and I will be fortunate to receive the dust from the feet of great munis, great devotees. Prabhupada is saying that actually one wants to go back to Godhead, if one wants to receive the mercy of the Lord, it is not possible without getting the grace or the mercy or the dust of the lotus feet of devotees. Ch8 gosaiyara mui tara das tasabara padarenu prapancha gras. So quoting Narottam Das Thakur, that these 6 Goswamis, Ch8 gosaiyar mui tara das, I am their servant, tasabara padarenu. If I get all of their dust, lotus feet dust, mura pancha gras. That is my pancha, 5 kinds of food. And Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Paiche Keba. This is a great destination and it is achieved by the grace of Vaishnava. Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Paiche Keba. Once leaves the association of devotees, service to devotees, what will be his destination? He will not receive anything. So this Manasvinam Padaraja Prapatse, that is the great fortune of anyone. wants to actually make connection with Krishna or receive mercy of Krishna. And Vritrasura is eager and he feels that I will definitely receive the 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 foot dust of these Vaishnavas. Even in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's mentioned that that verse that Bhakta Pada Dhuli Bhakta Pada Dhuli Bhakta, that the dust of lotus feet, the foot wash, and the avashesh, these are the three Mahabal. One can receive such mercy of Vaishnavas that can relieve one from all sins or can uplift him to spiritual consciousness. Then you hurl your thunderbolt at me. In 19th verse it says, it won't be useless like club, which is like that you had sent that club and it was unsuccessful. And he could see Indra is kind of uncertain, or he does not, he feels fearful. Oh, if I throw this thunderbolt, will it have the same effect? Will it again be unsuccessful in an attempt to hurt or to kill Vritrasura, and I will be again attacked back? So he's saying, no, don't worry. Hurl your thunderbolt and it will not go waste like the club, like requesting money from a miser. So if one is miser, if you request money from him, it will not give any result. Victory is assured for you in the 20th verse, as this thunderbolt is empowered by Vishnu's prowess and Dajiji's austerities. Kill me with Vishnu's order. So that shows the great faith, the great depth Vritrasura has in his heart regarding instructions of Lord Krishna, instructions or the desire of Lord Vishnu. So he's saying, oh, you seem to have lost your confidence that this thunderbolt will work or not, but I am telling you, please throw it, and I am certain that it will definitely work and I will be killed because it is ordained by Lord himself, and I have full faith on his yojana, on his plan, on what is ordained by him. So you don't need to have any doubt about this. So please throw this thunderbolt. He's like saying like that. And Prabhupada is mentioning that Abrahma Bhuna Loka Punaravritva Narjana, right from Brahma Loka to lower planetary system. This system of birth again and again. So he knew that even in this world, he don't want anything, any position in this world. Vritrasura. He knew only if I'm situated lotus feet of the Lord, if I return to the spiritual world, my position will be fixed. So actually, in this battle, if Indra kills Vritrasura, externally it appears that Indra has won. And Vritrasura, by encouraging Indra to throw this weapon, is he going to lose? So acharyas are pointing that externally Indra wins by killing Vritrasura, but internally Vritrasura wins by being killed by Indra, because he is absorbed, he is fully confident of Lord's instruction, of Lord's mercy, and he knows nobody can fail the instruction of the Lord. And that dedication, that surrender will actually will help him gain a result even much higher than Indra. Indra will gain something in this world only, an heavenly realm. But Vritrasura, because of his surrender, he will gain spiritual world, which is eternal. So actually, it was victory for Vritrasura, not for Indra. So that is mentioned. Then in the next verse, giving up body, I shall be freed of material bondage. And I'll fix my mind on lotus feet of Lord Sankarshan. And I shall attain the destination of Narada, which is of great person like Narada. Aham samadhaya mano yathayana sankarshanastas charanaravinde tadvajraramho lulita gramya pasho gatim muniryamya pavidha loka. Aham samadhaya mano yathayana. Samadhaya mano. Prabhupada is saying in the purport, this is the most critical point in this verse. That at the point of death, what one should do? Samadhaya mana. Samadhaya means I will focus, or I will concentrate, or I will fix. Mana, my mind, aham mano. On what? Sankarshanastas charanaravinde. My worshipable Lord, Lord Sankarshan, on his lotus feet, tat charanaravinde. Tad vajra rammo lulita gramya pasho. And this vajra will actually relieve me of this gramya pash, of this material bondage. Gatim munir yami apavidha loki. And I will get gati of munis like Narad Muni, where they reside, where they are constantly narrating, glorifying, singing the transcendental attributes of Lord and his glories. Apavidha loka. And I will give up this apavidha loka, this material world, where everything is impermanent. So that is his aham samadhaya mana. So even though it's a battle and Vritrasura will lose, he will die, and it's very painful. It's very disheartening to lose. It's very disheartening to actually die. There's so much pain involved. There is so much trouble involved. But still in that situation, I am confident that aham samadhaya mano. I'll be able to focus my mind on whom? Sankarshanastas charnaravinde. So that shows that he is actually beyond bodily conception. He has taken shelter of the Lord. He is Sharnagat, and therefore victory is for him. Prabhupada points out in the purport that he will be relieved of Gramya Pash and he will get eternal residence at the lotus feet of the Lord. Then in 22nd verse, he says that Lord doesn't give opulence of 3 worlds to devotees. Why? Because one who gets opulence, there is danger involved. There is enmity, there is anxiety, there is mental agitation, there is pride, there is belligerence. So these are the effects of opulence. And therefore, actually, the real kindness of the Lord on devotees, he does not give them. Pumsam kila ekanta dhyam swakanam yasampado divibhumo rasayam narati yadvesha udvegadhir mada kalir vyasanam samprayasa. So Lord does not give sampada, opulence. Why? Because it will create unnecessary agitation, unnecessary quarrel, envy, etc. in the heart of a devotee. So Lord doesn't give. But Prabhupada clarifies that if it's required for the service of the Lord, Lord also gives material possessions, but they are for ekanta bhaktas, and it is not like the karmis getting possession as a result of their karma. Then text number 23, Lord's mercy is attained only by unalloyed devotees, not aspirants of material gain, dharma, artha, and kama. So he clarifies, only pure devotees get the mercy of the Lord. Traivargikayasya vighatam patir vidhatte purushasya shakra tato anumeyo bhagavat prasado yo durlabho akinchana gochar anya. So who gets Bhagavat Prasado? Yo durlabha akinchana gochara anya. So such mercy is obtainable only by unalloyed devotees. Akinchana gochara. Not by persons who aspire for material happiness. Anya. It's very durlabha, very, very rare. And it's obtainable this Bhagavad Prasado by only the Akinchana Gochara, who are completely dependent on the Lord, who have no Akinchana. They have no other possession in this world which they take shelter of. They may have many things. Dhruv Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, as Prabhupada points out, they are Akinchana Gochara also. They have everything. They are kings. But they are not depending on them. They are not feeling their dependence on them. In that respect, they are also Akinchana Gochara because their dependence is on Krishna. So, that is the nature of Lord, He is glorifying. That the Lord does not encourage or permit this dharma, artha, kama, moksha, traivargika, and His kindness is obtained by akinchana gochara, not others. So then, the last 4 verses, the most important or essence of this whole pastime, I would request if any devotees want to recite these verses, will be nice also. Aham hare tav pade kamula dasanudaso bhavatasmi bhuya mana smareta supater gunamste grinitava karma karotu kaya. Anybody wants to recite this verse? Very beautiful verse.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
I'll recite, Prabhu. Are you able to hear me, Prabhu?
Yes, please continue.
Okay. Aham hare tava padaikamula dashanudasho bhavitasmi bhuyaha manasmreta shubhate gunamste grinita va karma karotu kayaha.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Aham hare tav padeka moolam dasanudaso bhavatasmi bhuvi mana smaret asu pater gunamste grinita va karma karotu. So in the first prayer to the Lord, he's saying aham hare tav padeka moolam dasanudasa bhavatasmi bhuvi. So aham, I, hare, O Lord, what is my desire? Will I be able to be the servant of your eternal servants who find padeka moolam, tava padeka moolam, shelter only at your lotus feet? So my desire is, oh my Lord, that I don't want anything in this world. I don't want popularity. I don't want that, oh, Vritrasura won the battle against the Devtas. That claim or any other claim in this world. Only desire I have, hey Lord, is please give me an opportunity, dasanu daso, so that I become servant of your eternal servants. And who are these servants I want to become servant of? Tav padeka moolam, who only resource, pad ek, they take full shelter at your lotus feet. Only shelter at your lotus feet. And then, after becoming their servant, what do you want to do? The Lord may ask, Manas smaret asu pater gunamste. My mind may always think of your transcendental attributes. Manas smaret will think or remember asu pater gunamste, your different transcendental attributes. Te grinita vak, and my words always glorify these attributes. Grinita vak. And karma karotu kaya, and my body always engage in the loving service of your Lordship. So after accepting, my desire is to become servant of the servant of your servants who have taken constant or only shelter of your lotus feet. What will you do? What do you desire by becoming servant? My mind, my words, my body will be constantly engaged in your service. So that is my desire. Mana, Vak, my mind, my words, and my kaya, my body. So if one can engage one's mind, words, and body in service of the Lord, that is a very, very significant attribute of being engaged in Lord's service. So Prabhupada says very beautifully, this verse gives the sum and substance of devotional life. Prabhupada says this verse is sum and substance. So if one can understand this verse, if one can understand the mood in which Vritrasura is praying, and one can imbibe that mood, one can practice these principles in life, then he's actually understood the sum and substance of devotional service. So a great Acharya like Prabhupada is saying this is sum and substance, means so much we are speaking, hearing about devotional service, different aspects, different attributes, but it all boils down to this mood which Vritrasura is expressing, that I don't want a very high position in this world or even in the spiritual realm or the spiritual side. I just want to become the servant of your servant. Why? Because if I get that opportunity, my mind, my words, my body can be engaged in your service. One must first become, Prabhupada says, a servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. Dasanu dasa. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised, and he also showed by his example, that a living entity should always desire to be a servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna, the maintainer of gopis. Gopi bhartyo pad kamlyor das das dasanudas. So Prabhupada is saying that means one should accept a spiritual master who is coming in disciplic succession. He is servant of his spiritual master. He is servant of his spiritual master. So that is the parampara. And under their direction, one must engage his three properties, the body, the mind, and the words in service of that. Body should be physically engaged, mind should think of Krishna, and words should always glorify Krishna, engage in preaching the glorious aspects of Krishna. And if one is thus engaged in loving service of the Lord, one's life is successful. So that is the very, very glorious mood of Vritrasur, which highlights that even though he loses, or even though he will be at the losing end, or it is ordained by the Lord that he will be killed, but still he is the winner. Still he is so glorious. Still Puranas are talking about this episode of Vritrasur as the pastime in which is contained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Aham hare tav padeka mula dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuya mana smaret asupater gunamste grinitava karma karotu kaya. So that is, he is saying that, oh my Lord, that this is my desire. So then, okay, somebody may ask, or Lord may ask, you have this desire to become servant and you want to engage your mind, body, and words, but do you want anything else from me apart from this? Something which people aspire for, they work so hard for. Do you have any other aspiration? So to that, he says, Nanakaprishtam na cha parameshtyam na sarvabhaumam na rasadhipatyam na yoga siddhir apunarbhavam va samanjasatva virahaya kangshe. Nanakaprishtam. I don't want the highest heavenly planets or Dhruva-loka. Na cha parameshtyam. Even where Brahmaji resides, na sarvabhaumam, a sovereignty over this whole earthly planetary system, na rasadhipatyam, or the lower planetary system, na yoga siddhi. I don't want yoga siddhis, apunar bhavamba, or even liberation from this material body. samanjasa tva viraheya kangshe. Because if I get all this, I do not master of power of mystic yoga, nor I do not, if I have to give up your lotus feet. Samanjasata virahaya. If there is viraha, if there is, you are samanjasa, you are source of all opportunities. If I know for certain, if I want this, you can give me. You can give me any of this or even more than what I desire. Like for Dhruv Maharaj, when he went, approached the Lord, he was given something, his desire was to get something even greater than his great grandfather Brahmaji, and he received Dhruva Loka, something unimaginable, unthinkable, but Lord gave him. So I know for sure you can give me your samanjasa, your source of all opportunities. But even if I gain all this and there is viraha from you, then I don't want it. It is not of any use to me. It is like pebbles or stones or dust on the road. It is not worth to even think about it. So Prabhupada is saying that this is the nature of a pure devotee. He does not want any material gain because he just wants to be situated in service of the Lord by dasanu daso bhavatasmi bhuya, by engaging in the service of the servants of the Lord and thus serving the Lord. Anybody wants to recite this verse?
Yes, sir, I can read, but you'll have to show the verse. Yeah, I can read now. Nanakipristam nachaparamestham nasarvabhaumam narashadipatyam najoga siddhir apunarbhavam va samanjasya tva virahaya kangshe.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. So it actually gets better and better, all one by one. So the next verse, even this verse is filled with so much emotion. This 26th verse, so much emotion of the great eagerness, the great zeal, the great lolium to get my Lord, to get his darshan, to get his service. So it's filled with that. Ajata paksha iva mataram khaga stanyam yathavat satara shudartha priyam priyeva vishutam vishanna mano arvindakshad dikshate tvam. So here in this verse, to show Vritrasura is suddenly thinking, oh, I want my Lord. I want to actually serve him. I want to see you. And to express his eagerness, he gives three analogies or three instances where eagerness is shown. So the first he says, Ajata Paksha Iva Mataram Khaga. So, Ajata Paksha. Ajata Paksha means a newly born baby who has not grown his wings. So when a baby bird, a newly born baby bird, Paksha. So Pakshi. So Ajata Paksha. So he a bird has given birth to a baby bird, and bird is small. He or she has not grown his wings, so she cannot go looking for food. So Iva Mataram Khaga. So this Khaga, this small bird, is eagerly waiting for her mother, Mataram. So when the sun rises, the mother bird gets up and she goes around looking for food. And in the meantime, the baby bird is eagerly waiting, anticipating when the mother will come. She is constantly looking in all directions, eagerly anticipating, waiting for the mother's return. So Vritarasura is saying, like that baby bird is eagerly waiting with her eyes pinned in all directions looking for her mother, same way I am also eager. But then he thinks, after giving this analogy, what is baby bird eager for? She is actually eager for mother, but the mother will bring food in her beak and will put in her mouth, in her beak. So she is eager for the food which he'll get. So he thinks, and the baby bird is just waiting. It's not actively doing anything. She's trying, she's looking around, but she is not in a position to run to look for the mother bird. So then he gives another analogy. Stanyam yathavat satarashudhartha. Stanyam. Stanyam is the stana of the cow, the mother cow. Yat yatha, just as vatsataraha, the young calves, shudhartha, they are disturbed or distressed by hunger. So generally, cow is there and the calf is there, but the calf is kept separately from the cow, and the baby cow or vatsa or calf, she is very eager to go and drink the milk of mother cow. And as soon as you open the barrier of, which is separating mother cow from the calf runs. If you see that, actually I have witnessed it few times in our Goshala, she's like jumping, hopping around with such great eagerness, zeal, enthusiasm. At the time, as soon as the gates open or her bondage open, she runs with great eagerness, zeal, enthusiasm to suck the milk from the mother's udder, stanyam. So he's saying, Vritrasura, I also have feeling such eagerness. So in the first case, the baby bird could not physically make an attempt, but here, as soon as the gates open or the bondage open, the calf, she with great anticipation, enthusiasm, she runs with great endeavor to drink. And you have to just see, she just is sucking or she's drinking the milk with such eagerness, with such pleasure, and mother cow is also feeling such eagerness. So Vritrasura then thinks, oh, this also seems like she is more after milk than mother, the vatsa, the calf. So then he gives third analogy. Priyam priyeva vishutam vishanna. Priyam priyeva, like Priyam, the beloved or husband, one's beloved or husband, priyeva, the wife or lover, vishutam vishanna. So like this, the wife is eagerly waiting for the husband, or the lover is waiting for the beloved who has gone away from home. Vishutam vishanna. And she's vishanna, she's very morose. So this lover or the wife, when the husband has gone away, she does not feel any happiness, and she's eagerly waiting for the husband or the lover to come back and satisfy her in all respects. So she is eager that when my lover or my husband will come, and I'll be able to serve her, reciprocate with her, and be an instrument of service. And so acharyas are pointing out these analogies are increasing order of enthusiasm, zeal, eagerness to serve. And the lover or the wife, when she is anticipating the return of the husband, she is with even great eagerness uh, uh, enthusiastic to serve the husband, and she does not feel any happiness in the absence of her husband or beloved, and she is fully vishunna, aggrieved, distressed, morose. Mano Arvindaksha didikshate tvam. Hey Arvindaksha, hey lotus-eyed one, my mind wants to see you. I always yearn for the opportunity to render direct service unto you. So he is with great eagerness pointing out. The Lord may ask, so you want, but what is your level of eagerness? Do you really want to serve me? Do you really want to see me? So Dhritarashtra is saying, no, this is how eager I am. And with increasing order of his eagerness. Now, this analogy is not sufficient. This analogy or this instance is not sufficient. Oh, this a beloved or the lover waiting or anticipating the return of the beloved, that eagerness, you are my beloved, oh my Lord, and I will not be satisfied, I will not be fulfilled, I will not have any happiness without your presence, without your service, without your association. So in that mood, speaking this verse. Anybody wants to recite this verse?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, bro. Please recite.
Thank you. Ajatapaksha iva matram kahaha stanyam yada vacharaha sudataha priyam priyeva vishitam visanna mano ravindaksha didrakshate dvam. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Anyone else?
Yes, so I can read again if you like.
Yes, bro. Please.
Ajat paksha yumatram khaga astanyam yatha vyatsarah sudartha priyam priyeva vyusitam vishana mano arvindaksha didrakshate tvam.
Thank you. And then there's this last verse, which also is the last verse of this chapter or the series, the fourth prayer in the series. Mama uttama shloka janeshu sakhyam samsara chakre brahmata swakarmabhi tvanmayaya atmatmajadara graheshu asakta chittasya nanatha bhuya. So here he's saying, oh my Lord, my Master, I am wandering throughout this world. Samsara chakre brahmata swakarmabhi. So this samsara chakra in this world, I am constantly moving. Brahmata, Brahman, I am doing, wandering. Why I am wandering? Swakarmabhi, because of my fruitive activities. Therefore, I simply seek friendship in the association of your pious and enlightened devotees. Mama uttama shloka janeshu sakhyam. So what I want is uttama shloka janeshu. Your uttama shlok is the Lord and his jana, his devotees, who are simply attached to serving the Lord, sakhyam. So I seek friendship in the association of your pious and enlightened devotees. Tam mayaya atma atmaja dara graheshu. And my attachment to my body, my atmaja, my children, my dara, my wife, giheshu, my home, asakta chittasya nanatha bhuya. It is because of my asakta chittasya, my attached mind, nanatha bhuya. But I don't want any longer this attachment to persist. That is, I want that my mind and consciousness only be attached to you. So he's again reiterating the point in the first verse that I want friendship, connection with only the devotees. Uttama shloka janeshu sakhyam. I'm wandering in this world for so many lifetimes, and what being constantly afflicted with attachment to body, to my family, to my children, to my house, to etc. But I no longer want such attachment. It is just draining me away. It is just causing me so much of pain. It is just, rather than giving me any sort of happiness, pleasure, it is just constantly draining me. It is not giving me any happiness at all. But it is on the contrary making me constantly revolve in the cycle of birth and death. So my only prayer and my only request to you, Lord, is that please somehow make me connected with your dear devotees. And being connected with them, I will have an opportunity to be free from this unnecessary attachment in this world, which is just causing me constant hassles, constant trouble, and bringing me away from you, my mind away from you. So I don't want now to be confused or to again fall back in that. So please, somehow, you are my master, you are my Lord, but I want only an opportunity to associate with your devotees who will help me to always remind of you, always connect with you. My body, mind, and words will be constantly engaged in your service, in your glorification. So that is my only desire. I don't want to continue in this cycle of birth and death in this world, aspiring for things which I've done for so many lifetimes. I have been unsuccessful in my attempts, and it has been constant failure. It has led to no unhappiness. But now my only hope, if you can give me association of your devotees, Jana, Tamashloka Jana, and by friendship with them, that is my only source of pleasure or source of getting detached from this world or getting connected to you. Detachment to this world is secondary, but just connecting to you will automatically, I will have no other, like Gajendra, he was trying or he was asking his family, his wives, his children, help, help. But he saw they are of no they are of, they are not able to provide any help. But when he took shelter of the Lord, then that relationship or that desire for help or attachment just warded off. It was like no more there. So just connecting with the Lord through your devotees will help me be relieved from this pain or from this attachment or from this unnecessary troubles in this world. Anyone wants to recite this shloka, especially those who have not recited up till now? Only 2-3 devotees are reciting.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. You can hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Mamottama shloka janeshu sakhyam samsara chakre brahmata swakarmabhi tvanmayayatmatmaja darugaheshu asakta chittasya nanatha bhuyat.
Thank you. Anyone else wants to?
Can you sit?
Yes, Prabhu.
Mama uttama sloka janeshu sakyam samsara sakre brahmata swakarmabhi tvanmayatmatmajadarahishu asakta siddhasya nanata bhuya. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Anyone else before we end?
Can I read, Prabhu, or you want somebody
Yes.
else to read?
If anybody else is not there, you can read also. Yes.
Mamutam sloka janeshu sakhyam samsara chakre bharmatah swakarma bhi tvamayatmaja darageheshwa asakt chitasya nanath bhuya.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? So today's Ekadashi very beautifully, at least in where I am, it is Ekadashi today. So on Ekadashi day, we are able to recite and hear and read these glorious verses which are depicting the heart of a pure devotee. Even though he appears to be in the body of an asura, externally he appears to be a demon. Externally he appears to be very rude, very cruel, or very his appearance appears to be very, very demoniac, very, very unholy. But internally, his heart is filled with transcendental, loving emotions towards the Lord. So few things we can very, very confidently learn from this pastime is don't be caught up in external things. What is most important, critical is to have a very, very clean, pure heart, which is filled with emotions, which is filled with devotion, which is filled with bhakti for the Lord. So everyone has their own, appearance, has their own skills, disabilities, shortcomings, etc., etc. But we should, for oneself, one should focus on cleaning our internal aspect, and with others also, we should not focus on externally how all these factors, appearance, their behavior, their etc., but try to encourage them in their internal emotional exchange with the Lord, with the devotees. And this acharyas are pointing out, this is the sixth canto, which is the middle of, like, there are 12 cantos, sixth canto, and in sixth canto also it's kind of in the middle of sixth canto, if you see. So this particular section, Vritrasura, and these prayers, they are kind of, if I don't know if you have heard this, if you want to, it's mentioned, if you want to know about what a book is talking about, you should see the beginning, the middle, and the end, and you can get the understanding of what the book has. The beginning, right at the beginning, the first few verses itself are talking about dharma ketava projita, and then in the middle here, the heart of pure devotional service is expressed beautiful in these 4 verses, and in the end also yagya sarv kirtana praya. So that aspect where the Nam Sankirtan is highlighted. So we can see this is the essence, the bhakti, the Nam Sankirtan, the mood of being the servant of the servant of the servants of Lord Hari. So that is what Vritrasura is showing through his life, through his endeavor, through this discussion, or through his prayers, where he is revealing his heart. So thank you very much for your enthusiastic and patient hearing participation. And if anybody has any short comments or additions or subtractions, they can add. Otherwise, sorry, I've gone really beyond time. So my apologies for that.
Prabhu, it sounds like similar to, not exactly, very similar to Chaitanya 6 Hastakam verses. Like na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavita vajagadis kamay mam janmani janmani ishware bhavat bhakti hetukritam ainantanuja kim karam pattam mam bhavam visham budhav. Sounds like a little bit same pattern, but very deep prayers, as you said, powerful prayers to recite and remember.
Yes, thank you for sharing. Even in the 24th verse, the first of the prayers, Prabhupada also says, this is the what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to preach and also showed by his own example. There, so same thing like you are mentioning. Okay, so thank you very much for your kind and patient discussion and participation. So hopefully we'll see you again next week. So we can take some inspiration from these prayers of Vritrasura and become more and more enlivened and more eagerness, volume for Lord Hari and for His holy name, His pastimes can come in our life. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad
Thank you,
Bhagavatam
Prabhu.
ki jai.
Thank you so much for so devotional classes, Prabhu. Dandavad.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.